Right. So, what we discussed in the last section about the software development life cycle, which is called SDLC, where we
Yeah,
discussed
STLs.
about software development life cycle like analysis, planning, design, implementation, testing, deployment, delivery, maintenance, all.
Ex yeah, also, yeah.
Yeah. Now, today I'm going to discuss about the business analyst life cycle.
Yep.
This is in context to the project based because normally, as far as the IT services are concerned, will be classified majorly in two parts. You can mute
Hmm.
yourself, Vinay. Please mute yourself.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So there are two things. One is project based. Second is a product based. There are two services you can see. Project based means according to the requirement of a particular customer, we are developing the solutions. Means for a particular client or a customer by understanding their business situation and all, whatever the kind of solution that you are going to provide. This is all comes under the project based. Now, when it comes to the product based means we are developing a product according to the market requirements, market needs, expectations, all that. We are developing a product. So once we develop the product, whoever they want, they can buy. RPA is one of the product, more or less like I can say UiPath. RPA UiPath is an example for product based because RPA UiPath is a product by itself is there where we have to configure according to the requirements what we have. That is something which normally we do. Either it can be automation, right? So it can be of anything, everything can be done. Now, when it comes to the life cycle of a business analyst role will be classified in these parts. You can see it here. The first one about the planning and preparing phase. This is the first one. Second one is called as discovery of current state. Point number two. Point number three, we need to define the future state. Point number three. Next, developing and managing requirements, followed by build, design, and testing, and transitioning and support. It's more or less the example that I have explained you yesterday. It's more or less the same, but that is called as a software development life cycle, which consists of everything, including coding, right? So everything will be involved in it. But being a role of a business analyst, when you're trying to understand about the responsibilities, irrespective of the technology and domain, the first one about planning and preparing, wherein as a BA, we need to understand the goals of the sponsorer. Normally, there are two people. One is project sponsor, business owner, because there are some jargons and terminologies in BA. One should be understandable. One is business owner, second is a project sponsor. There are two different roles you can see. Business owner means people who owns the particular business. It can be a unit also. Business need not be an enterprise. It can be a business unit. Okay, this is called business owner. Project sponsor means who is funding for the particular project. For example, we are going to develop some we wants to transition, not develop. As far as UiPath RP is concerned, I'm giving an example to you. Let's say we want to incorporate UiPath or using you want to incorporate or integrate UiPath with our existing things to automate a process. And we are working on some banking applications or something like. So there must be some sponsor who is going to sponsor you the finances. Finances means whoever is required they have to sponsor because automation process whoever wants in the let's say that if you want to automate a process in the organization we don't automate everything because if you want start trying automate all at a time it leads to confusion, it leads to delay, which normally we don't do that. If you closely see we have different departments, we have any organization. I'll take an example of a bank or a financial institution. We have HR team, we have finance team, we have business development team as separate, we have IT teams, we have operations teams, right? So we have a lot of teams, you know that, right? So departments or teams, whatever the name you can call. When we wants to automate, a particular business activity or a process by implementing UiPath in our organization. Normally, when there is any transition we normally do at one business unit or one business activity we do. For example, you want to automate some finances process, or for example, loan processing is there, right? So loan processing you want to automate. First, you want to start with it and you implement that. You see the kind of results that you are getting in. So based on that, what to be decided and how to correct if there are any challenges we come across, how to correct that, and then we go for next level implementation. This is how generally we do. So what I'm trying to say, there are some sponsor, let's say that finance team. Okay, finance head, right? So finance head is a sponsor. Why? Because finance head wants to automate the process. So what these finance heads do, project sponsor is getting fund from the company, right? For example, like say business banking company, which is called some name, right? So some name of banking company. They want to automate the finance process, especially loan processing. So some X amount of money that is required for them to develop by implementing UiPath by the external vendor. Because again, there are two cases. If you have your own IT team, you can allot some team to do that. If we feel that our IT team is not something expertise in this area, what we do, we hire some other external vendor from outside to do that. So some X amount of money will be required for you to fund on it. So where this fund will come, this fund they will be arranging from the management or from the higher authorities and all. They tell us the requirement. And this is what something which we required some X amount of fund. So that or else sometimes management will tell you that fund, this is the fund are we allocating, please go ahead. So this is where project sponsors are. So project sponsors means people who are sponsoring for the project. Do remember again when I am repeating the same, sponsor is need not be a customer, client, company, okay? Because company which is larger in size you see, sponsor means people who are sponsoring for a particular solution that we want to. So as a business analyst, when we are trying to understand about planning and preparing, we need to understand the sponsor goals. Sponsoring goals means what goal and objective a customer wants to achieve. For example, they wants to automate the loan processing. What is the goal? Goal is to streamline their loan processing system, very accurate, very in simple, accurate. It should complete in a limited time without any kind of human errors. They wants to make it. This is the goal which they are putting in. Okay. For that reason, they want a UiPath to be implemented here. Unless if you are a BA, unless until if you don't understand the sponsoring goals, then developing a solution doesn't have any value. Even though you have developed a solution, as long as it is not satisfying the goals, objectives of the customer or a sponsor, then there will be no value. Many people will miss this point. Because as a BA, it's not only the solution that we are developing, but end of the day, that solution should cater the needs and goals of the customer.
So here sponsor is not a client. Sponsor is
Process
sponsor to
need not be a customer. I'll give you an example to you. Let's say, for example, XYZ is a bank, okay, bank, right? So they have, it's a global wide. It's a global bank having spread across in different countries, underline this point, spread across different countries. Now, assume that in India we have 10 branches. I'm just giving the rough figure, right? We have 10 branches. Indian operations are spread in 10 cities. Now, you want to implement UiPath automation process in loan management system in one area. One area means, let's say, at some location where the bank was located in some city in the country of India. In some state, they want some automation to be made. So that is what something they have decided. Who has decided? The finance team has taken a decision to automate the process. So the finance team responsibility is to ensure this process should be completed by the technical team with all the required target deliverables which they want to achieve, because that is their initiative. So they are the one who is going to sponsor the project, because that is their requirement. From there, from where they get the funds, they get the funds from the management team, higher management. Do you understand this? Clear? You understand or not?
Yeah, sir, can you please tell something like very simply, sir?
It is simple only, but let me explain. For example, you are developing a core banking solution, okay, or core banking
Okay,
automation you are doing.
okay, sir.
Sponsor mean a person who is a founder of a bank will give you the money.
Sir, it's a finance team.
Am I right? Yes, sir. Finance team. Is it
Yeah.
not by the founder of the bank, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the difference. Finance team is sponsoring you. Finance team is arranging some X amount of money to develop the solution.
All right.
Right? So these people are called sponsors. Sponsor who is sponsoring for
Wha-
the solution.
All right. Got it, sir. Got it, sir.
You understood? Project sponsorer
Yeah, I got it.
who is sponsoring it.
All
Sponsoring
right.
it
Yeah,
need
got
not
it,
be a
sir.
business owner or a business person who initiated the business. If it is a small
Mm,
business unit, then that is a different context. But when we are dealing
okay.
with multinational companies, assume that the company started somewhere 100, 150 years ago. Okay, that company is spread it across different places across the world. They are providing banking and financial services. Assume that. Okay. So who is the
Yeah, yeah.
founder? Founder started way back 100 or 120 years back, not now. Am I right? After that,
Yeah.
there were some chairmen might be there. After that, CEOs will be there. Higher management again will be two people. CEOs are different, CXOs are different. CEOs, chief
Mm,
executive officers is there. COOs are there, who takes care of chief operating officer or chief finance officer. So there are again board of directors we have, independent directors we have, again departmental heads. This is a hierarchy for any business. Understood? You're clear, right? Now,
yeah, now got it, sir.
right. So the next, these companies normally, most of the companies were public limited. Public limited means, let's say, for example, this is a very minimum amount, but I'm just giving a rough figure to you. Right, 1 lakh rupee. 1 lakh rupee investment, 70,000 rupees is from the public. They have taken shares from the company. 30% is the investors' money. So who are shareholders here? Persons who are taken share at the company. If it's a public limited, they are the shareholders. They are 70%. 30% is the retail investors, or the people who promoted the business. So this is the context. In this context, you cannot say who is business owner and who is a business person, startup, all that. Because once the company has grown to the next level, there is no concept like founder or something like, because the companies are very old age companies spread it across different places as far as the service is concerned for a long time. Normally there is a hierarchical process, organization structure will be there, right? So you may be having some chairman in that. Again, after the chairman, you may be having some operating officer, chief operating officer, chief executive officer, chief finance officers, right? So from there again, you have independent directors or board of directors are there. Board of directors will take the decision, not by any single person individual. Based on the majority decision, board of director has taken on the business to run. So based on that implementation of a particular business decision, what they have taken will be taken to the next level. Understood? You're clear, right? So you understood?
Yeah, got it, sir.
So this is where generally the concept of a sponsorer comes into picture. Means people who are sponsoring for a particular solution to be provided. So we, being a business analyst, you want to understand the sponsor goals. That is point number one. Point number two, we need to identify the resources and availability. Resources means how much manpower you require. Resource you can categorize into two different directions. One is a technical resource, second is a manpower resource. Technical resource means to develop solution what technology is required. Sometimes on-premise solutions we are developing, or sometimes we are developing some cloud related infrastructure required for you to develop some solution. So technical resources are comes into picture, point number one. Manpower resource. Manpower resource means how many people required for you to develop a solution. What will be the size of the team? This is all comes under the resource. So, but when it comes to the identification of the resource and availability, it's not only being a BA we are involving in. Let us take UiPath as an automation under RPA taken into an account. Project management team will decide. Project management will take an initiative about the resource availability. Either it can be a technical resource or it can be a manpower resource. But end of the day, this decision will be taken in a uniform manner, not as a one-sided. Even project managers who are responsibility to deal with it, they need to interact with some technical people to understand the technical requirements. Based on the technical resources will be identified. They will be interacting with even business analyst teams so that they will be understood about the impacts and complexity of the project that they are developing the solution. So I didn't. So as a business analyst, we will be involving not only we only, right? Not we as an individual. We also part of identifying the resources and availability. This is point number 2. Point number 3, gathering a team. Gathering a team is based upon the resource availability or based upon the resources that we have taken, etc. This is something we, yeah,
No.
yeah, right. So gathering a team and as well as defining the roles are important. What are the different roles do we have? Everything you must be knowing. Next, we need to, it's not only about the defining roles, it's also important for us to identify the stakeholders. Identify the stakeholders means who the stakeholders are. The stakeholders can be an internal stakeholders. Normally it can be an external stakeholders. They normally stakeholders will be classified into 2 different parts. One is internal stakeholders, second is an external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders majorly focusing on people who are directly involving in the project. Either it can be a technical team, right? So all these people are comes under internal stakeholders. Now, when it comes to the external stakeholders, nothing but people, as I mentioned, whatever business owner, project sponsor, subject matter experts, all these people are comes under external stakeholders. So identifying the stakeholders is one of the key and important element one to be noticed. So as far as the business analysis itself is concerned, when you talk about the business analysis life cycle is concerned, as far as the role of a BA, normally we will be focusing more on planning and preparing phase. Where in this planning and preparing phase, we will be focusing more on understanding the sponsor goals, understanding and identifying the resource availabilities, etc. At the same time, gathering the team, defining the roles, everything has to be done by a business analyst in this regard. So based on that, what we do, let's say, for example, you want to do stakeholder identification. Identification of stakeholders we do based on some technique. You please make a note of this because it's better to explain you. Write down. Identification of the
Yeah.
stakeholders. Please make a note, Vinay. Identification of the stakeholders will be done based on power and interest grid. Based on power and interest grid.
Based on
Power and interest grid. Based on power and interest grid.
interest grid, sir.
Interest grid. Power and interest. Power and interest.
All right.
To identify the stakeholders, we take power and interest into consideration. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So why power and interest? Because power leads to decision making, whereas interest leads to involvement. Okay, people, whoever is having power, whoever is having involvement, those people will be taken into consideration. Understand? You're clear?
Okay, sir.
Power high interested people, one category. High power low interested, second category. Low power high interest, third category. Low power low interest. This is how generally the category we make when being a business analyst we will be involving. So this is what generally the planning and preparing phase as a BA we have to do. Understand, Naveen? You're clear?
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
Right. So now when it comes to the RPA implementation, as far as the RPA implementation is concerned, UiPath implementation. So as a business analyst, we need to identify why are we doing this? What reason behind that? Okay. So what kind of goals and objectives that we want to achieve over here? So everything you have to know. That's where generally this planning and preparing phase come into existence. You're clear? Understood?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Second, about discovery and current state that I'm going to discuss tomorrow about this. Clear,
All right, sir.
Vinay?
Yeah, got it, sir.